Nope, here. Am I going? Okay, I've got it. Like, what's happening? So there may be a little, the occasional car go by. I still live in a beautiful place. We've got a golf course, even though we don't play golf. We live on a golf course. Um, and we have a train that runs through. I don't know. Can you hear that? Woo, woo. That's kind of cool. Hey, Jory. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in forever. Anyway, I almost overslept this morning. I have not been feeling good. It started yesterday. Who knows? And we don't have school today. So, well, my daughter. I never have school. Well, I have the school of life. So, the sun is doing its job. It's doing its thing. It's rising. We're out here. And I had a little quick read. God was good to me this morning, even though I just randomly am following a Bible reading plan and then trying to really relate it in a practical way because, hello, I want to know what's in it for me. I want to know what's in it for you. Like, why are we reading this thing? And how can we use it and not make it seem like this weird thing? The thing that has kept me from reading it all this time and going to other people who seem smarter than me to figure out what it means. Hey, Linda. And anyway, so I'm on this little adventure this year to try to read the Bible for the first time myself and not go to anybody else. Like, just ask, hey, God, what does this mean? What are you saying here? Because this is some weird stuff. Am I right? Anybody who's read it, you're like, what am I supposed to make of this? Anywho, without, babbling on about that, what I read this morning was a little snippet from Judges, I think it was 17, where they start talking about the idols of Micah, or Micah's idols. And it's this strange little story that starts off with money being stolen, like a lot that was back then, and this woman, making a curse on whoever stole it. Well, it turns out Micah, son, heard about this and said, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. I better go confess. Mom, I heard that you were cursing anybody who did that, and it was me. Oh, and she was so like, oh, wow, you admitted such a terrible thing. Let me reward you. And not just reward you, but cast an idol. Like, she took some of the money and made an idol for Micah. And then Micah said, wow, I must be a pretty good dude here. I am going to worship myself. And he did. He created his own little kingdom. And buried in that little story is the verse that probably, whether you're a Christian or not, you've heard. And the land had no kings at that time, and everybody did what was right in his own eyes, what seemed right in his own eyes. And I'm like, oh, as a mom, this was really pretty convicting. I don't know about you, or even as a parent. Like, how many times have I maybe gone overboard with my parents, with my parenting and with my children, and something that they really did wrong and maybe needed some consequences for, and I maybe turned into something that was right, if they even showed a little bit of repentance. Y'all tracking with me? And how often we do that in our own eyes. If another human, like, this was all at the human level. Nobody was like looking at the bigger picture. What does God say? How should we handle this? They were just doing what felt good to other humans. Oh, I made my mom happy. Ooh, I made my son happy. We must be good people because we're feeling good and we're being nice to each other and we're forgiving each other. And, maybe they were using some fairly good principles in there, but in a distorted or wrong way. And this is what happens to us, right? Oh my gosh. I really, this one is probably going to be nagging at me today, just like it needs to, just like, oh man, I have, and this is a real concern for modern day parents. We really can idolize our children. Our little children can be walking around. We give them, at least in the circles that I travel, we really want to give our kids the world. There's this thing called travel sports where, even on the weekends, well, little Johnny's got to, play soccer in college. He's 5 now, but, this is what we've got to do for him to even have a chance. And now the whole family is going every weekend, traveling and spending all kinds of money, and everybody's lives is revolving around the children. Our weekends, our evenings. We've gotten a little off track, don't you think? And that's just one example. So not picking on anybody who is doing, like, I know lots of really good people I love dearly that, do these things. This is just one example. Like, y'all could walk in my house and see my kids have their own little kingdoms in their rooms. They have these big rooms. They each have the big chairs and desk and TVs and computers, and they have their own little kingdoms. Oftentimes, so I don't have to hear, Mom, let me do this, so they'll leave me alone. And so I can go do my own thing and be my own little queen in my little queendom. This is kind of convicting. This is part of the, maybe consequence of even having even just a little bit of affluence. And when we don't have a higher something that is guiding our lives, and if we're not consulting that higher thing, on a regular basis, daily basis, how easily we humans can get off track. Oh, well, I'm being forgiving here. Oh, I'm being honest. I told Mom, but then it gets all mucked up when it's just humans doing human things and what feels good and what's being judged by other humans. We get in a whole heap of trouble. So the whole book of Judges, I had somebody text me yesterday and was like, this is why I've avoided the book of Judges. I don't want to be judged. I know, I don't want to even go there because they know how convicting it was going to be. I was like, well, if I knew, maybe I wouldn't have either. Trying to give you all different angles of the sun here, because that's part of the point here, right? The beauty. So here I am reading it for the first time, going on my own, and God is like, I have done some of this in my house. Where these kids have maybe made little shrines, or we think that we have made shrines to them, and it's the world according to the children. As a matter of fact, I'll be honest and give an example. Last night, I have a 16-year-old who is learning how to drive. She's got her permit. She's working now for the first time, and we've got to go get her. She's not a fully licensed driver and cannot take herself, and my husband is going to be sharing his truck with her, and I have, we have both, vehicles, and she was being a little demanding last night, like, please drive my truck to pick me up tonight. And I was like, oh heck no. And I pulled up in my car, and she was like, why didn't you drive my truck? I'm like, well, number one, girl, it's not your truck. But we have kind of created now, this is kind of a funny, silly example, but there's actually some truth in there. Like, we've created a little bit of entitlement. I'm not going to lie. And I don't know my kids are almost grown and flown. So if y'all have any advice for me, that was the part that really convicted me with those first few lines about the mom starting. She's the one that started this whole thing. Now there's a whole story beyond that where, Micah even hired priests and really literally created his own little kingdom there. And then another tribe came along and stole the priest, and then they stole the idols, and then everybody was worshiping these idols of Micah. And so it went beyond that, but it all started with this misguided mom doing what seemed right. Yeah, we mamas have a lot of influence. We parents, I'm not going to leave the guys out. And what are we creating? What kind of citizens and people are we creating and then sending out? And what the ripple effect could that be in the world? I'm going to have to be nagged by this one, probably for more than just today. All right, you guys, I love you. Thanks for tuning in, and maybe we can learn some practical lessons together, rising and shining and trying to become better. Love you. Bye.